A very good evening and a warm welcome to NetoSportsGlobal #NSG. It is an exhilarating weekend of sport and it can never be boring because with sport there's drama, tension and flair and always something to talk about. Let's welcome our resident, the sport analyst, Oscar Sandawana Nzinzi. Oskido, a very good evening and a warm welcome to NSG.
Another week, another session of wonderful engagement on what's to happen in the coming weekend, and also a review of what happened in the past week in the world of sport. Exciting 20 minutes or so that I'll be spending with you, sir.
What drew your attention when it comes to last weekend section? It could be the Boks one-way traffic against Wales. It could be anything really.
I think the big one for me is probably what was, made known to the public. I think 24 hours ago, when Chicago Fire and Orlando Pirates confirmed that the young defender of Bafana Bafana will be leaving the shores of South Africa to go to Major League Soccer, franchise in Chicago Fire to join them for approximately $3 million. What's interesting is that the agent said European clubs only offer about 2 million rands for the player, while the Americans offer a figure of $3 million. That's like 51 million rands. So another, young, promising player in South Africa living for MLS. A lot of people don't favor the league, but those guys are willing to pay big bucks. We saw Cassius Malula going to the same country. So that's the big thing for me, and we are happy for Mbokazi for making this big move.
What does money do to the game of football? Because where there's money, you can never argue more if you don't have equal to what I have in my briefcase.
Yeah. Today we have a lot of players leaving Europe for the Middle East, all in the name of money. I mean, we all know the football career is a short one, and if you don't maximize on the opportunities you get financially, then you can't be complaining after you hang up your boots about hunger. So you need to be wise when you are offered that moolah. Look at the state of a Cristiano Ronaldo today, and even a Lionel Messi. These guys, I mean, the money in their bank accounts and the assets and the stocks they've been offered, it's just ridiculous. So money is everything for sports personality, in particular football.
And for an African player, it's even more of a blessing, because for a player like Mbokazi, if he goes and come back, I mean, all his financial worries will be a thing of the past. But also, not only will he change his life or those around him, but he's able to extend this gratitude in terms of plowing back. It could be from a village that is close to his heart, and it's always exciting to witness that on the African continent, where those that have made it are able to come back to the African continent and do wonders. I mean, we've seen it with many other heroes on the African continent who knew that Africa is a tough continent. They made it big in Europe and they came back to Africa to plow back. And one still wonders, are there other players who are not doing it? Of course, it's not at a gunpoint, but imagine if everyone was just doing it out of a good heart. I'm certain the state of African football would be even in a much better position.
No, definitely, Mr. Neto. The one thing about South African football is that when it comes to finances, everything is a secret. We just assume how much this player and that player they are earning. Even I think it's probably a clause that's written somewhere that they should not reveal numbers. But once they leave the continent, we know these numbers. We know how much a Mohaun Kota is earning in Saudi Arabia. We already know how much Mbokazi will be earning. And definitely, I mean, it's a lot of money. There's a player that left Maritzburg. His name is Bongobuhle from One. He's playing for Minnesota something in the MLS. And the boy per annum is getting around 5 million rand. And already, I mean, the boy is planning to open an academy in South Africa. But he's not a known footballer because he was coached playing for a smaller team. So he definitely, I mean, all these African players, you talk about Sadio Mane, who has changed his village, built a school, built a hospital. You talk of N'Golo Kante, yes, he's French, but he has not forgotten his roots back in Mali. Same thing, a school, roads, hospitals. So once you go overseas and get those euros, dollars, Australian dollars, sterling pounds, you definitely you also have a desire to change, the village you come from or the town you come from, the township you come from. So it's important that these players actually go overseas, definitely when there's an opportunity for them to earn a better salary.
Let's move on to pitch side. Bafana will be taking on the Black Stars of Ghana in an international friendly where Bafana is gearing up for the Africa Cup of Nations. As for Ghana, we can't say the same thing. I suppose that they are throwing forward to the World Cup preparations because at the end of the day, every moment that the national team players spends together counts for something, because we could be thinking that 2026 is far, but it's actually just a stone throw away, because we are sitting in December already. Before you know it, it will be the end of the Africa Cup of Nations, and the noise will start coming up about the FIFA World Cup 2026. What can we expect from these two giants?
I think Hugo Bruce had made it known to everyone that he had wanted, a tougher opponent in preparation for Afcon, even looking at 6 months ahead for the upcoming World Cup. So the Black Stars, Black Stars, we all know, whether it's players playing in Europe. I know in Europe, there are certain countries that close for that winter break during December. Your Scandinavian countries, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, those countries, they normally shut down the league because of the extreme weathers that happen during this time of the year. So we know definitely there is some Ghanaian players playing there, and they'll definitely want to also, if they are called up by the coach, to come down to Ghana and actually honor this friendly and make it tougher for South Africa. We know that there's that mini rivalry between us and Ghanaians, and this will be a good preparation for Bafana, especially that Hugo Bruce selected players that were not expected to make it to the final 25. Players like Chandri Campbell, 20-year-old, Tylon Smith playing for QPR, 20-year-old. There's a lot of 21 and 20-year-olds in the squad. Mbokazi, 20-year-old, Kabini, 21-year-old, Damane, 21-year-old. The average squad of Bafana is about 25. So be rest assured that this match, Hugo Bruce is going to try and blend in players that might not be, your regular, your starters in the first 11 for the upcoming friendly.
It's also good to see that Hugo Bruce is over 70, but he so believes in youngsters. He's not a greedy old man.
No. He's not greedy, and he's honest. He is an honorable man in that even when we as South Africans, we wanted a Chambers one in the squad, but he was honest enough to say, this guy has not played for over 2 months. Why would I javelin him into the Bafana squad while he has not played for over 2 months? Chances of him getting an injury even in that first game of Bafana and Afcon are very high. So we really have to appreciate the honesty of the head coach.
A parting shot about Ghana. Remember in 2010, 15 years ago, when South African players decided to take an early shower, or maybe they didn't decide, the stage was just too big for them. Although they've done well, they've managed to beat France 2-1 in that group, if you remember very well, but unfortunately couldn't prevail or graduate out of the group stages. And the country, South Africa, and the rest of the continent relied on Ghana, because Ghana made it to the last 8, the quarterfinals, and Mzansi nicknamed them Bagana Bagana. But when the two nations meet on Tuesday the 16th, that will be a thing of the past. How beautiful is football?
Yeah, man. We will never forget that game because of a certain Mazinho.com from Uruguay who broke the hearts of Africans, even if you dislike Ghana. But that night, that afternoon, that evening, we were all backing Ghana. But as you have just said, when we meet against Ghana, it's not a friendly because one wants to win against the other.
Exciting indeed. Orlando Pirates, the fans, Amapakania, they are very happy to be on the summit of the Betway Premiership. And everyone is saying, let's hold on to it because it's about time someone dethrones your team, Sandawana, Mamelodi Sundowns, Kawiyelo.
Orlando Pirates are on form, man. I mean, these guys are doing well. I mean, every department, goalkeeping, defenders, their midfielders, their forward players, everything is just in sync. And but looking at them today, you wouldn't think that they started poorly. I mean, after 2 games, all their supporters, they wanted to chop off the head of the lanky Moroccan. They were like, no, man, how can you bring such a guy, Dr. Koza, to Orlando Pirates? This guy is clueless. But after those 2 games and maybe after some meetings with the management, everything just turned around. I mean, now they're leading. They've won the MTN 8. They have a chance of also winning come Saturday. How things are going now, it's looking like Orlando Pirates are going to take the #1 spot or the championship from Mamelodi Sundowns.
Exciting indeed. And Orlando Pirates will be taking on Bahlabane Bantwa this weekend, a match you've just touched on, the Kali Knockout Final. Will Bahlabane Bantwa be able to stop the Sea Robbers, or it's one of those where it paliwe?
The past 2 cup finals of this competition, first one, it was the Stellis, and the last year's one, Magesi, upset over Mamelodi Sundowns. It looks like a Carling Black Label knockout competition is one that will always come with surprises. But Orlando Pirates is just way too good. But we can't overlook what Lafitte, the youngest coach in the league, has done in that Marumo side. I mean, what are these guys playing for? You've got some former Orlando Pirates players there, Otladisa, Undlo, who are doing well. I mean, if these guys can actually take Orlando Pirates to the extra time, we might see an upset. But if they can't, and then there's no way Orlando Pirates will allow these guys to defeat them in 90 minutes.
A game can be a brand of beautiful football all you like, but if there are no goals, it's still a boring outcome. I didn't see 0-0 between MC Alger and Mamelodi Sundowns. Did they respect each other too much?
What a frustrating match. What an eyesore for Mamelodi Sundowns fans. It was a must-win for MC Alger, considering that match day 1, they lost to Al Hilal. We actually thought that Rulani Mukwena was going to take the game to Sundowns, but as you alluded to, the fact that maybe it was just too much respect. Obviously, it was highly tactical between the two coaches. But on the side of Mamelodi Sundowns, 90 minutes, no shots on target, no shots at goal. Really frustrating for South Africans, even in general, watching that game, because majority thought it was going to be, an open game, an entertaining one, but it was just boring. And nowadays, Mamelodi Sundowns players, technical team, they're just bang average.
Can we agree that Rulani Mukwena knows Masandawana in and out?
No, that's not a secret, my good sir. That is not a secret. Majority of the starting 11, they came from the pot that was cooked by Rulani Mukwena.
When we go to the United Kingdom in the Premier League, after 14 days 14 matches rather. Wolves still haven't collected victory. The best that they have done after 14 matches were 2 draws.
14 games out of 38, majority will say it is over. But if you followed, the culture and the tradition of the English Premier League, you will know that if they can collect something within this busy month of December, if they can pick up, let's say, 2 wins and 2 draws, you know what, the whole thing can turn, because the difference in points between them and Burnley, who are 19, is 8 points. I think Burnley are on 10 points. So yes, it looks like they've given up, but I know the English Premier League, the same Wolves can finish 15th or 16th and actually survive. You never know.
It is confirmed, it is rubber stamped, no one can touch the Springboks, or am I the one dreaming?
No, you're not dreaming. We're all high on some cocaine as South Africans. I mean, the Springboks are doing us proud, but we can't also be ignorant of the fact that 18 months to 2027 World Cup in Australia, a lot can happen, a lot can change. We have a lot of players who are over the age of 30. Some of them, chances are, they won't make the cut going to Australia 2027. But I think our eyes should not be in 2027, but our eyes should be in 2026, trying to blend in some of the players that Uncle Rassi has used this season. I mean, we are the only nation that used over 50 players in the Springboks. He was not scared to lose games. He threw in players in big matches against the All Blacks, against Australia. And so as proud as we can be, we should not be ignoring that the 18 months a Wales can change just like that. And the French can change just like that. The Scots can change just like that. So we're happy, no problem. But let's respect the game and just continue improving where we need to improve as the Springboks.
I'm certain it will be a tricky one for a slave queen to become a professional athlete. It is December, but for the women Proteas, they will spend it on the pitch side. But slave queens can go to the nightclub.
Mr. Neto, you know what? I was looking at the records between the Proteas and the Irish ladies over this T20. It actually looks like we are facing a nation that is always excited playing T20s against the South Africans. And it's not a given that we're going to win this series that will be played over 3 games, or 3 matches rather. So yet again, as big as we can be as a cricket nation, we need to respect our opponents. And we all know T20, you just need one individual performance that can literally take the game from one side to the other.
Fabulous indeed. As we wrap up the Africa Cup of Nations, Bafana in Group B, guess who's there? Zimbabwe, a team that almost did what they could to make certain that we don't grab the ticket to the upcoming World Cup. But fortunately, there was still a game in hand to play against Rwanda, and we did the job there. But imagine if Rwanda held us to a draw. We could be counting with fingers and toes here. But hey, Zimbabwe is there. They know South African football. Will they trouble us again? There's also the likes of Egypt in that group. And there's the Portuguese-speaking nation, Angola, which is the first match on the 22nd of December, after having witnessed an exciting and exhilarating opening ceremony a day before on a Sunday when Morocco opens the curtain of the 2025 Afcon against Comoros. What can we expect in Group B? South Africa, Zimbabwe, Egypt, and of course Angola.
One thing I'll be honest about, Mr. Neto, in regards with non-African nations, in particular the Egyptians, they don't like playing South Africa. They don't like playing South Africa. Nippy, quick, short passes, wanting to keep possession. They just hate chasing the ball when playing South Africans. And you can actually say that Zimbabwe plays similar football to South Africa, and it's just that they probably need a better manager. But they do have some players, and it's going to be a tricky one. Our toughest fixture in the group is not Egypt, it is Zimbabwe, because these guys they give us headaches. They know us in and out. Majority of their players play here, except the lot that play in the UK. So our toughest fixture in the group will not be Egypt, but it is the Zimbabweans. They are the very ones who almost snatched that bread out of our mouths en route to the World Cup. But again, we can't emphasize this over and over again. We must not be too proud and think that we're going to walk over even the Angolan side. Most of these Angolan guys, they play in the lower leagues of Portugal, and some of them and some of them play for the best team in Angola, Petro di Luanda. So it's going to be a tough group, but I just know Egypt doesn't like playing, these teams with quick players, short players, leapy, highly tactical players like South Africans and Zimbabweans. So it's going to be a tough one.
When you are a rich man, you must never give the pin code of the black card to your ice boy, because when they know everything about you, they will leave you empty-handed. I'm just thinking how Zim understands South African football so deeply that on any occasion, they can just trouble South Africa and make certain that our tears of sorrow comes from our neighbors that we've even accommodated in the country.
Man, we are Zimbabweans, and Zimbabweans is us. We are one thing. We are just separated by these borders, but everything else is the same. Our food is the same. The languages are almost similar, and but you know what? We should not make light of the Zimbabweans in this Afcon. But overall, we've seen how Afcon is nowadays. It's tough. It's highly competitive. I mean, if you look at the previous one in Cote d'Ivoire, it was highly competitive. I expect the same even on this one.
The FIFA World Cup Draw 2026 taking place this Friday. It's going to be exhilarating to see what the outcomes becomes. What do you think South Africa will be? It doesn't matter the group, but who do you think they are most likely to be partnered with, just as a guest out of so many countries that will be part of this global spectacle? Are we meeting Italy? Are we meeting Netherlands? Who are we meeting?
If you look at the FIFA rankings, you look at the top 10, England, Brazil, Argentina. I don't think Italy, I think they're still in the playoffs. They still have to fight it out. Yeah, they still have to fight it out. So I would really not mind having a host nation in our group. Let's say having a USA and having, let's say, a top 10, let's say English, European club, and let's say having another small nation, maybe from Asia, South Korea, and us. That will be a tough group. It's going to be a tough group, and I would not mind that. I want us to have a host nation in our group: Canada, Mexico, or USA, and any other top nation in the FIFA rankings. I would not mind it, even if it's Brazil. But I really want a host nation in our group. We're going to make it spicy. Would love to see a USA so we can have Donald Trump coming to the stadium.
As we wrap up, Sandawana, earlier on I was talking to a gentleman from Lagos, Nigeria, Tony Robani, and he was just telling me how much of a sad story it is that Nigeria did not qualify for the FIFA World Cup. And I'm thinking, days after it was decided, Nigerians are still crying.
You know what? Nigerians and football, football for them is like a religion. If there's one thing that really brings them together, whether you are Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Muslim, Christian, African spirituality, if there's one thing, they will sit together and break bread together. is football. So that very one thing, especially a big tournament like the World Cup, when it's taken away from them, it's huge. I mean, it's a heartbreaker. For us South Africans, it's become normal when you don't make it to the World Cup. You just choose a nation. You just choose France. Oh, there's black folks there. I'll support France. But when a nation like Nigeria don't qualify for World Cup, I mean, it is a tragedy for the nation.
And you are hitting over 200 million people.
Hey, the ones that are counted is 200 million. What about those that are not counted?
Exactly. So, hey, we are approaching 500 million here. Oscar Sandawana Nzinzi, indoda edlipapeli yellow. That brings us to the wrap-up of this week's NetoSportsGlobal #NSG review and preview show. Sandawana, always an incredible pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Neto. Thank you, sir.
And that's how we wrap it up. My name is Neto, N-E-T-O, Chemani. Osiati, Konyangazi, Mumkadra, Padle, Punjani, Moyani, Voko Dendele. Africa and the world. Be nice, be kind, be good to a fellow global citizen, because life is too short. And, Ritakwanga, Utakula Bangwe, Boyinivan, Babiwa.